Yeah, it's Bruce from Nature Calls, and I'm going to give you the directions on how to make this rain skirt. I made other rain skirts according to other diagrams and materials. Like this one I made for my daughter out of the Cuban fiber, Dyneema. And one of the problems is they don't, when you put them on, they split apart really, really high. And they don't really get that whole thing where you get it coming around you and not splitting apart so much. So the back end of you will get lots of rain with these designs. I also didn't like the Velcro or Omni tape closure system. I just didn't feel it was going to hold up to what this has to do. So the other thing was, how can I make this a great do-it-yourselfer? And this takes 1 yard of fabric, 1 yard of fabric. So all I have to do is order 1 yard of fabric. And this in particular is Silpoly, and I'm 6 feet tall. And it goes down halfway down my shins, goes from the waist. So this could probably handle pretty easily a 1 yard piece, maybe someone up to 6'3" or 6'4", and then down to maybe 5'8". And then if you're shorter than 5'8", you'll probably have to hem it up a little bit. And if you're taller than, say, 6'4", you're probably going to have to add some on the bottom of it to get it to drop below your knees. But it's 1 yard of fabric, and I use the cam snaps, which I feel are a much better application for this project than the Velcro. And we did some walk tests, and this is the spot where it starts to separate. So that's about 6 inches down from the waist, but even if it separates, it has to separate quite a bit. And then I added on little tie-outs. So if I wanted, I could make this a great little cover for if I'm doing photography, or I just need a quick little tarp set up for storing my gear or getting my gear ready. So it is just a rectangular piece of 1 yard of fabric that's 58 inches. Another aspect was whether or not to use Dyneema or to use Silpoly. And so I asked a bunch of people that had these, and they liked the way the Silpoly drapes. They just like the way it drapes better. The Dyneema, they felt didn't drape as well. Plus, if you didn't get it in, say, a solid color, if you were, say, doing a through hike and you need to wash your clothes, and you took off all your clothes and this is all you had, you could see right through it. So having something that was more opaque was a benefit. The Silpoly or Sil nylon is a definite benefit. And then of course you can use these for, like I put little tabs on them, so you can make a little cover tarp or a gear layout pad, or a sheet, one of your sheets that would, you could lay on. And this one's actually 58 inches long, so it could be a major piece of your ground cloth. So in fact, if you just put this down and maybe something else, you'd be good. So this has all those details involved in it. I think it's a great design. So let me go show you the design in the build. Now I just used just a standard Kenmore sewing machine. I've got the polyester line that I also got for Ripstop by the Roll. You want to use polyester instead of cotton because it'll resist the UV rays and deterioration. And then a extra sharp or micro sharp needle. So normal needles, they push the fiber aside, like with denim or like regular clothing. With Ripstop poly or Sil nylon or Dyneema, you want it to just punch a really small hole, so you want the micro sharp. So I got a micro sharp needle on. I'm going to set my stitch length to 3.5. On my machine 3.5, so I'm trying to get that 8 stitches per inch. So this is a yard. I got 1 yard of the 1.1 ounce Silpoly. So if you're trying to go for a waterproof, you could do the membrane. This is just what actually I had at home. But so if you get a yard that's about 58 inches usable from side to side, and then the length is 36 inches, which will drop below the knee. So you can actually just buy a yard from Ripstop by the Roll, and they're extra wide unless you're a bigger guy. So So if you have like a waist measurement of say over 48 or 46 inches, go for their XL fabric. But everybody else could go with this. And if you're really super thin, then you could actually cut this down. But this will work for most anybody. So the first thing I'm going to do is do a roll hem, and that's fold it over once and then fold it over again, and then you sew down the side. Some people like to put pins and needles on it. I don't. I want to use the least amount of holes in my fabric as possible. But I'm going to do the short sides, and then I'm going to do the long sides. When I first start doing my projects, I'll set my sewing machine on slow. So I'm going to take a quick look. There's no difference on this as far as one side or the other. And one of the tricks that I do is I'm going to fold it over. I'm going to go for like a 1/4 inch hem, and this stuff is super thick, super slimy. So I'll do the fold, and I'll put it, see if I can get that fold again. So I'll do the fold, get it in tight, and then I put it down a few inches so I can start. It's really hard to start sewing when it's like right at the edge like you'd normally do. And then I drop the needle down, and now I can really work with the fabric because it's being held for me. Okay, just like that, and then I'll go real slow to begin with. Lock stitch. Then I can start speeding it up. Now I'll continue, and I'll do that roll hem all the way down by just picking it up, kind of rolling it under. And I'm working until I get it just right, like that. And away I go again. I'm trying to sew as close to this edge as I can. Now I've got to shove all that through. So now I come back up to the end and I clean up the threads. Like that thread. Now I'll just do that back up this direction. It's just something that I do. It's, you know, it adds a little bit of stitching right in that one spot, but I find it a lot easier with this fabric because it's so slick to do it this way. Let's slow way down, lock stitch couple. It's so slippery. Lock stitch. There. So that's sides. Then I'll do all the 4 sides just like that. I've got all 4 sides all hemmed, and you want to make sure you turn your hem the same way so they're all facing one side. You don't have one hem going one way or one hem going the other way. So take special heed and care of that. Right. Now we got to put in our shot cord. The way I'm going to do this rain skirt is I'm going to put a grommet on it. Of course, there's many ways to do the waistband and attachment and velcros and cam snaps. And this one I'm going to do cam snaps, but I'm also going to have an elastic cord down here, and it's going to come out right there through a grommet, and we're going to have a lock on it. So that'll be where you tighten it up, and then you also have this little piece of elastic to tie around your rain skirt at the end. We're going to put some cam snaps here, and right here is where we're going to have, right in the middle point, now be right below your belly button, is where I'm going to put a grommet. My footage of doing the grommet didn't turn out, so I'm going to show you on this piece here. So I've got this tool here, and it's a hole punch. It's kind of dull, But you put that where you want the hole to be and slam it. Hopefully that'll give you at least something to work with. Hopefully I can figure out a way to sharpen that. But then I just kind of cut kind of a circle out. It doesn't have to be a big circle. Because actually the grommet will come through, and I think it actually helps the grommet. So then you take the bottom part. You have a bottom part. You have a bottom part, you have a top part in a grommet. You put the grommet through the hole. You put the top part, you got to make sure which side's which. So we have the grommet through the hole, and this side's a little more round, so if you want that, like in this particular case, will be next to your stomach. So you want to make sure which side you do. Then you take the base. See, it's got a little indentation. You put that like that. Then you take the big tool, and you don't want to just go straight down. You want to kind of angle it. You want to go straight down on it. You want to angle it a little bit, and then you're going to rotate it around, and that will bring it down. Just going to tap a little bit. So that will start to bring it down in more of a round way. So now it's down, and you don't get any funky deals, and you can keep tapping away until it's good and tight. You want it good and tight. There we go. Put a grommet in the middle. You need to remember which side you want in, because this is going to flip over and be about a 1-inch hem on the top, and that's where your shock cord is going to go. And I'm going to use 1/8 inch shock cord. You could use a thinner one, but I'm going to use this 1/8 inch. That's what I've got. And I put a lock on it. I'm going to string it through, and then I'm going to tack down a simple tack on each end to hold that in place. But I want the tack to be at a certain spot. I'm going to measure in. I'm going to put little loops here for some tie outs. So then I'm going to start. So I'm going to start at 1. I'm going to put one at 5, and then another 4 inches at 9 is where I'm going to put my cam snaps. So I want the shock cord to be tacked in right about there. Actually, let me see, 9, give it some room. So about 1/2 inch away from the cam snap is where I want the tack to happen. So I'm going to mark that on the other side as well, and then I will tack the shock cord in. But I'm going to have 3 cam snaps. So I'm going to pull it tight where the lock is, and then line up this shock cord. And it's good to have some extra. Don't trim it so close that you can't get it anywhere. And I'm going to leave the stitch length at 2.2 right now. And I'm going to back over it again. Okay, and I'm going to put a couple more bar tacks in there, but I'm going to do that later after I do the fold. But now I've got this side done, and I will tack the other side down. Now I will cut off this little piece that's sticking off here, and I do use these for, so these leftover things, I'll use those for tarp shock cords, so they don't ever go to waste. Now what I need to do is do a 1-inch hem basically the width of the grommet that I put in. Get that grommet up tight. You won't really be able to sew over that grommet, so it'll be plenty of sewing to do. There's going to be a little gap there where the grommet is, but that'll help someday. Say you have to restring your shock cord. Set this at 3.5. I can feel the shock cord in there. There we go. Lock stitch. Now I'll just keep the shock cord in place and sew away. I'm going to go right past where that shock cord is tacked on and continue that hem all the way to the edge. Now I'll just do it the other side. Now to make my tie outs, I'm going to use some paracord, but I'm going to remove the guts of the paracord, and then that will be some really nice little tie outs. So that's a 16-inch piece long there, and I will cut that into 4 pieces for 4 little tie outs. So in case you wanted to use this as a little mini tarp, like, you know, if you're a photographer and want to set up something, or if you want to use it as a ground sheet and have a way to stake it out. So I'll just fold them in half like that and then tack them down in each corner. So there we have a little tie out, little ultralight tie out, and I can go ahead now and cut those a little bit shorter, but I still need to take a lighter to them, and that's why I'd be super careful and get that way out there and then hit it with a lighter. Just be super careful. Do not hit your fabric. Okay, good. Good, it's all 4 corners. Now I'm going to go back and add a couple more bar tacks onto those shock cords. Got it, get it way in there. And then one more. Okay, so we take the awl, stick it through that hole there, get the button top, stick that through the hole. And these are all going to be male on this side. Stick the male end on there. Take your tool, make sure everything's together. Squeeze. There you go. Do one more on this side and then we'll do the other side and be done. So then to put it on, just start with that snap, 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 and if you want you can always leave this one open to get more air going through, but we measured this when walking. This is the precise point that when you're walking that the fabric started to separate. So you bring that about 6 inches from the top down and you'll get what you want. And then you just spin it around and you put it on inside out. Then you tighten down your shock and there you got it. There you got it. This is my version of the skirt. I think it's the right version. It closes up well all the way around. It doesn't tighten down when you are walking. You could add more snaps if you wanted, but that one is in the perfect spot so it doesn't open up that much. I do like the Silpoly a lot. and I think it drapes right, and it's opaque enough that you could do it. And when I measured, it's only about an ounce heavier than the Dyneema. And if you did a 1/8 inch shock cord and a smaller turnbuckle and didn't do the little tie outs, you could probably get this easily under 2 ounces for this. So, okay, hope you like it. Talk to you later. Bye now.